Okay, we're taking a look at what the output would be, what the program looks like when we get done making our functions level 1 badge. Let's take a quick look at the assignment and I'll try to explain this maybe. It's a lot of words because this is one long function instead of, one long program instead of kind of mini programs that you've been doing so far. Now we have the ability to kind of make it all work together and make it into one. We don't do that often, but that's how this one's going to work. So these three things that are on this menu, and we'll take a look at that in the code, they are all functions. They work independently. Each one kind of sends information to a function, and then when the information is known, it kind of it returns the values of it. And so even the menu itself is actually a function. So let's take a look at what it is that would look like then if we go into code. So here's my menu this time. I made it a little bit different. I didn't make it quite as fancy, but I always encourage putting some effort into your output, into making things look good. This time, I just have these menu items. So I could quit if I hit 4. I'm not going to. I only put that on there because, again, I'm going to make a loop. The main reason I make a loop is so I don't have to restart the code all the time. Because then you would see the code and you would, just write it in. So that's no fun. So I make loops so that I can just show you all the different possibilities. You don't have to do that, though. I am going to show you that if you're interested in making a loop so that this runs over and over again. I'm going to show that in the first tip. So you could watch that tip and create a loop, which is kind of interesting. Alright, so we choose that we want to raise x to the y power. Excuse me. Now there is already at least 3 different ways that you can do exponents. So you might be wondering why in the world you would need to create another way to do exponents. Well, it's just a good example, and it's something that we can use later on down the line for some other things that we want to do. So uh, you'll have to excuse the fact that it's a little bit made up and artificial, but it's a little hard to create functions that are complex until you understand the basics of a function. So let's just say that we want to raise 2 to the 8th power. One of my favorite ones should be 256, and there we go. Now it comes back to the menu, and we say, okay, we want to do the area of a circle. It's a fairly easy calculation again. Like, I think everybody knows that the area of a circle is pi r squared. So it's going to take pi. It's going to ask us for the radius, and then it's going to square the radius. Now, interesting, when it squares the radius, that's kind of like saying x to the y. And so this function actually uses this function in order to solve it. So let's just say that our radius is 10. And then our answer would be 314. And if you think about it, this is, the radius squared is 100. And this is 100 times pi. So that's a good number. It's probably worthwhile memorizing it. And then finally, Yahtzee. And it's not really Yahtzee, which involves 3 dice. It's actually making. Regular Yahtzee is 5 dice, but this is just 3 dice, and they don't get to choose a new one. It just is basically seeing if it can make 3 random numbers. And in this case, you saw how I made those dice. I just thought it would be fun to put the numbers in, kind of where the pips of a dice are. So of course it's so long that you can't see them all at the same time, but you can see that this would have been a 4, a 5, and a 2. And theoretically, it's never going to happen here. I've tried it and it takes, a long time, but theoretically, oh, look at that. Yahtzee on 4s. All right, so 3 of a kind, and then it says Yahtzee. Now, some of my other ones said so close. You don't have to make yours say so close. I just happened to make it so if I got 2 of a kind, it would say so close because I thought that'd be fun. but that's not what you need to do. And then if I choose quit, my program ends. So there we go.